Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Everything Kratom, the podcast about anything and everything Kratom. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday morning, hoping all is well with you. Today, I wanted to touch on a topic that seems to get a lot of attention, and a lot of people like to listen in on it, so I thought I would do it again. But looking at a new post here, someone posted on Reddit, time to kick in / when to take more. I just took some powder for the second time using Blate Papes. The first time I took 4 grams and didn't feel much, so this time I took 5 grams. I'm hoping I won't need to take more, but if I do, at what point would you suggest taking more? I want to feel it, but I also don't want to accidentally take too much. Thank you. And one or two people have commented so far. And the first person said, try doing the opposite. Take 2 grams. For me, I found that less is more. When I started in 2018, I was taking 3 grams, every 5 hours, I guess, to get off prescribed Percocet. Now I'm down to 1 gram per 5 hours since 2021. Goes on to say, sometimes I take a little more at 3 hours, like 0.2 grams or less, and that would last another 2 hours more than my usual dose. So instead of taking every 5 hours, I go every 7 hours between dosing. And the other person says, once you figure out your body, then it's easier to judge. Hour or 2. Okay, so I've got a few episodes and thoughts on this in the past, and essentially I like the mantra of less is more, or at least it can be more. I think that this is more of a personal opinion, I guess, the first part, but like if I'm taking something and like if I take kratom and then I don't feel the sort of effects that I'm hoping to feel, it's not too often that I will then take more. Like I can count on one hand how many times I've done that, because I don't really view it as one of those situations where, well, it didn't get to where I wanted to get it to. Let's see if we can still get it there. It's more of like, I took the kratom, it didn't work out the way I was hoping. It didn't like have the effects I wanted, or I don't feel it. Oh well, we can try again later, or maybe just let it go for today. But I don't like to take it like within just, half an hour or like an hour after taking kratom the first time, even if it's not working out for me, because I find that it's easy for me to go over. So I also totally relate to this person asking about it, because it really stinks when you take more than you need to, and it kind of makes you feel sick to your stomach or whatever it may be for each individual person. And I hate that feeling, and I don't ever think that it's really worth risking it just so that I can see, well, maybe if I do this, because it's kind of like when I took it, it didn't work. And so darn, it didn't work. Let's, at the bare minimum, okay, we'll try again 4 hours later, 5 hours later. I also agree with the timeline though, that the commenter came up with in terms of waiting 5 hours in between. They said I take a little more at 3 hours, like 0.2 grams or less, which I found interesting. And I feel like, more or less, that's like something I might do. But normally I'm waiting at least 4 hours. And I think that the trick in my own usage, I think that what has been working for me has been when it's not getting to the, when it's not helping me or as effective as I'd like it to be, and in a very, very general way of putting it, when it's not working, I like to do a reset or a pause, make note of it. Why isn't it working? What is it about it that's not working? Has it worked before in this exact same way? And if so, am I missing some factor here, or is my body changing? And there's a lot of factors that could go into it. I mean, I've been discovering that since doing this show. It's, the amount of food I ate, how much slept, how much I slept last night, how much sleep did I get the past week, how much food did I eat, what kind of food. Am I stressed? I don't know. Am I in a rush? Was I late to work today? Like, am I distracted? So I'm not really like paying attention to the sort of feelings that I normally would feel. I don't know. There's a lot going on there, but I think that I'm more of the cautious. I'm on the cautious side. I have a more cautious approach to this sort of thing, where I'm thinking if it didn't work, try again later, but I'm not going to like keep chugging along and seeing if I can get there right now, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my sum up of my thought on that aspect of it. But that being said, I like the idea that if you're going to try to bolster something or get a little bit more of a kick out of it, that you wait a few hours and then you take a very small amount. And primarily, I like this idea of like, try taking less, because less, so very oftentimes I think less is more. And I've done many episodes, by many I mean maybe 2, but I've done 2 episodes that is talking about less is more. So this is the 3rd. I can't tell you how many times I've taken less kratom than I normally or typically would, and am completely surprised and blown away in a positive way by the effects and how well it works out for me. And that happens, I think the evidence there for me would be that it happens so much more often. That's so much more often that it's the case that I have a great experience and I'm very surprised by it when I take an amount that I don't expect would produce those results or the desired effects. And it's hardly ever where taking a larger amount and consciously thinking as I'm taking it, this is a bit larger amount than I was thinking or that I typically do, or et cetera, et cetera. It's very rarely the case where that ends up being like, oh, wow, that was a great idea. I'm so glad I did that. So I think that also it comes down to that. Just sheerly by the numbers, it doesn't seem like to me I get as much of a benefit out of taking more as I do out of taking less. So sometimes maybe if taking 4 grams didn't work, maybe perhaps this person taking 2 grams would end up having a better experience. And if they did 2 grams and then waited 4 hours instead of taking 4 grams and then waiting 5 hours or something, or the person suggested underneath that they say, started in 2018, I was taking 3 grams every 5 hours, trying to get off a prescribed Percocet. So there's another factor, like what other medications you have in your system or lack thereof. And now it says that they are down to 1 gram every 5 hours since 2021. So first off, great job to that person. Very, very happy for you. Sounds like you were able to taper down the way that you wanted to, and that's great. I think that overall my takeaway from not simply this is just kind of like something I found online that I thought I would like build off of talking today, but I think more broadly, I think that less is more. It's really good to be in tune with your body. I think that I have more positive experiences with kratom myself, just not trying to attain a specific level of effect, like to the end where I'm willing to take kratom in ways that I don't normally do it. And this person in their post, I actually, should make the point of emphasizing that they say this, I just took powder for the 2nd time using papes. So it sounds like this person actually, I didn't even register this aspect of it as much as I should have, that they don't really have much experience with kratom whatsoever to the point where this is the 2nd time they've taken it. So that's even more of a reason to say, maybe, of course, maybe this person ends up needing more, who knows, but there's no context provided here. So I don't know anything about them. I would never make suggestions to anyone about kratom here on this show ever. And it seems like there's some factors going on there as well, which who knows, maybe they aren't really thinking about certain things that would affect that, like if they're on a prescription medication, which should certainly be taken into account, if they got much sleep, if they didn't, full stomach, empty stomach, and who knows, maybe it's like if they had just a smaller amount, like 2 grams, and just like ate a very, very, very small snack of some sort beforehand and not like a huge meal, maybe that would end up like working out really, really well and they'd have some great effects. It also could be that they don't know what kind of effect they're looking for. That's also possible. Who knows? There's a lot there. So at the end of the day, I'm not trying to throw out any lessons or whatever, obviously, and I can't really tell that much from a post, more of just to build off of, as I said. But I think I would just end with, I personally find that less is more pretty much all the time. And there's a lot of factors to take into account, and it's all about knowing your body, which someone did post. The second post was, once you figure out your body, then it's easier to judge. So I totally agree with that. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you're all doing well. We will be back tomorrow. Talk to y'all then.